Bye. Ah, damn it. Hey, I've made a few changes since part 0, which, let's just say if you have no idea what C# is, or computer science in general, I'd say watch it. Everyone who doesn't enjoy mindless tedium, don't watch it. More ums, yeah. But, yeah, it was so boring I had to speed it up to 1.25 times speed, because I was sitting there going, oh, get on with it. Anyway, yes, I've made some changes, mainly this section here, where I've filled in the sections for the first 2 letters of the title. It's very long, which, yeah, it does this, which is cool. There we go. Those are the letters, first 2 letters, which are these ones. So this is each of their normal bits of code, and then, well, the first one of this bit here, is this one, followed by this one. And I had a really good idea last night, well, not being able to get to sleep until 2. So if I just implement that really quickly. Okay, so what I've done is I've added a couple more for loops into this section, which is the same as this entire section, but it's easier because now if, say, I just want to change the A, like if I want to make it taller, shorter, stubbier, I can just change these values instead of having to go through and find, oh, this is the code for that one, but don't mess with these ones because that's the E. It's a lot easier because I can just change each letter, and then I can just have all the letters and I can change them around and stuff. But yeah, so this does exactly the same thing. So it's a for loop which does this first one of A, and then this first one of E, which is essentially this. So it does that one, and then that one, which is how this one works, but they're each separate. And then it goes on to a new line once it's done all of the first one, well, the 0th one, all of the second 0th one, and then it goes on to the second batch, like over here. And that looks exactly the same, like this. So those are exactly the same. And yeah, that's how far I've got so far. The pixel art for the letters I've been making in Excel, because it's actually really good for patterns. A trait which I stole off a Reddit thread, talking about a grandma doing knitting. But yeah, so this is how I've done them. Each letter encompasses that much, and this much. I may remove this line and this line, because those can just be done in console.write lines. Okay, I'll do that now. Okay, so I've removed the first set of zeros from the A, the second set of zeros stays on the E, and then I've taken them off the end as well. So I've just changed it so that you can tell, I've changed the black value, so you can tell where they all are. So this first line here is the console.write line, this second line is the console.write line, and then these are when all of the actual black spaces. But if I change all of these to 0 now, you shouldn't be able to tell which ones are console.write lines and which ones are spaces. Ah, no you can, just slightly. Okay, I'll be a second. Okay, so I've changed the black values to 12, which sort of, I mean, you can barely tell where they are. You can sort of see the difference between this bit and this bit, but only if you stare really hard. I did try 0, 0, 0, but it was just far too dark. Yeah, I'll get on the other letters. Okay, so this is the T. Very minimalistic. It's a T, not much you can do. I tried one where it was like a swirl and then it went up like that, and then down again and over there, and then it like sort of crossed up there. It didn't look right with the E and the A, and so yeah, that's what the T looks like. I now need to put a row of zeros, then colour, 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 different colour, then black, and then go all the way down until I get to here. I'll go do that. Okay, I've changed the T again. It's going to be this instead. It just sort of fits in more with this. This is far too straight. Oh, I also deleted the other title one, just because I want to use this as title. And it just didn't work. I didn't want to have that. So that's my dog, I'll just go let him out. And I'm back. Okay, so it's just the first line, this line over here, this one, is just the same as the one before. So 0, 0, 0, oops, 0, 0, 0, 0. How many zeros is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 zeros. One more. And then close that curly bracket. Once I put the end curly bracket on, it will separate out like before. Yeah, and then that's my job for the next little bit. I'll get back to you when I've done the entire word. Okay, I'm not finished, but the good thing about having a word with repeated letters is that I've already got the E there, so I don't need to write out both E's. It just helps a lot, because it's a lot quicker than having to write out all of that again. That's the only repeated letter though, unfortunately, so yeah. Okay, we're up to 101 lines of code. We've broken the centenary. That's the celebration of 100 years. Well, it's a celebration of 100. Happy centenary. Yeah, this is currently what it looks like. Lots of zeros, threes, twos. Yeah, but all of that makes this, which scared me the first time I looked at it, because this is absolutely not what is supposed to happen. I mean, you can kind of see all the letters in there. That's an A. I mean, that one's frazzled, but that's an E. That's the T. But then maximize it. Etheron. If you press Control+, it zooms in. So this is the desired width, because that's how big the thing is. But also this writing, when I actually put normal writing in it, will be actually readable, because if you have it all the way out here, you can barely read that. So that's good. Okay, I've got a quick change that I want to see if I can make, which is to put all of these in one thing, because they're all the same length. If you look at this, all of these have the same length boxes and are all the same amount of boxes. So I should be able to put all of these inside one of them, and hopefully it works. It will take us off of the centenary though, so yeah, fewer lines of code, more optimised, who cares? Okay, it didn't work. I got lots of red bits, so, oops, no, redo that. So it has to stay like this, unfortunately. It also wouldn't have worked, because if you had, well, how it would have worked is it would have done this one, and then this one, and then this one, and then this one, instead of that and then that, which is fine for this because it's all zeros. But if you start doing 0, then 0, then 3, then 0, it starts messing stuff up. And it wouldn't have looked at all like the letters, so that wouldn't have worked. And also, I changed the single space in here to a double space, because the space characters are half as wide as they are tall. So if I remove them all quickly, then this is what it looked like before, which is rather ugly. Yeah, it looked all scrawny, and I mean, it's sort of alright, but it would have to be that big, which is kind of not what I wanted. So yeah, I was stuck with double. Okay, I've added some extra cases, just because now that I looked at it, it looked kind of cool having one spaces. So I've added some extra bits. So if I put a 0, it's a double space. If I put 9,999, it's a single space, but they still both do black. So that one's twice as long as that one. Then I've done this the same for all of these. So normal one is double space, 3 ones is one space. I did have it on 11, 22, 33, 44 and 55, but if I wanted 11 colours, then I'd get back around to 11, and then I'd have to fix all of this, and if I'd done anything with single spaces in here, then I would have had to change it all. But yeah, this is the new colour set, until I add some more. The fan in my HP computer was making me quite alarmed at the continued use of it, so I had to cut that bit short, and having looked through that footage, it's not exactly peak gameplay. I'm not yelling at the screen or anything, it just sounds kind of boring. But anyway, yeah, so I've moved the static void example one, which is just the example of how to draw stuff, up here. I'll just keep it in case I needed to copy and paste it anywhere. But now I've got the main title sorted out, I'm going to finish the rest of it, so I'm planning to have the main title across the top, so it will look like this. And then somewhere in the middle, maybe here-ish, it's going to have a sort of pulsing, like in normal games with the press play or press plus to start the game, I'm going to have a message like that in here somewhere. And that's going to pulse every time. If I can work out how this clear specific line bit works, because, I mean, it says C#, but it's an AI thing on Bing, so I'm not sure if it works or not. Because that happens quite a lot. I'll search up something and it'll have C# on it, and then they'll be doing JavaScript or something else. But yeah, that's the plan. And I'll get back to you once I do some of it. Oh yeah, I moved the example so it wasn't cluttering up space. If I close that, it doesn't look like I've done anything. But I've got 108 lines of code, which is good. Okay, so I've just changed the one with all the letters in it to the name of the game, so I don't have to go, oh, the letters, oh, that's the main banner thing, and get confused with the title screen. So this is the starting bit, because whenever you run it up, it'll always start with printing that out, and then do the next few lines, and then write the starting message. And that screen never has to become back, never has to, you never have to go back to that screen, so it doesn't have to be a function. Okay, so now I'm going to add another few lines of console.writeLine with nothing in them, so it just jumps down a couple of lines. And then I'm going to write the opening, like, welcome to Ethereum, press whatever, spacebar to start. Okay, so I've set it to do the main title bit with the green letters, then do 6 spaces, because it'll do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then stop when it gets to 6. So 6 spaces, and then it's going to write A, so I can see how far down the page it is. And that looks like that. So if I zoom in to where it's going to be, it's not exactly the middle, so I'll keep going down further. Oh yeah, all I have to do is just change this value. So that's now 10, because it will do 10 times. So what does that look like? Oops, yep. Always forget about that. That's more central, yeah. I'm just going to see how far down the bottom of the page actually is, just so I can scope out. So 25. Okay, so that's gone off the bottom of the page by not very much. So 22. Okay, I'll try 24. If that doesn't work, then 23. Okay, that's more okay, because it actually fits on the screen, and that's the last line. If I did 25, it would be down here. You wouldn't be able to see it. However, when you start it up, it looks like this. So it moves it all down, and you've got all of this. That can be fixed by adding in, isn't it? A console dot, what was it? Read key. Read key. So that won't add the last few lines of code. That will keep it where it is. Okay. That, maybe that works. There we go. Okay. So that's the entire width of the screen. It's taken off the bit at the bottom, and that's all I can see. So now I get to find out where to position it. So it's in the middle, which will be an amount of spaces, which, funnily enough, I can use this draw function for, to do these spaces here. I just do lots of zeros. Or I can just put in a bunch of spaces here, which is probably easier, because that looks like this, and then it just moves it over a bit. So I'll find out how many spaces it is to over there, and then write the message, and then we can see if we can work out this clearing lines. Okay, so I've found the middle. Well, it looks kind of like the middle. I'm pretty sure that's geometrically slightly lower, but this is kind of overbearing, the title at the top. So I thought I'd open the gap slightly. and there's this bottom line under here, all of this bit. So it kind of balances it out. So now I just need to work out what to put as my starting thing. Okay, so I've done all of this bit, got my welcome message, then press space to begin. This I've made sure, because I'm a little tiny, tinsy, teeny, weeny, weeny bit OCD. This is 10 spaces, this is 10 spaces, so this is exactly in the middle of this bit. I put a line in the middle because it seemed too scrunched up on such a big screen. However, I did have to restart my computer because, as I said before, the fan was going like crazy and it was slightly frying the internal components, considering it kept coming up with error messages about not having permissions to do things, which I'd done already 100 times before, something like that. So it definitely worked, but it does work now. So I restarted it. My laptop is now resting on two 30cm rulers, which have elevated it precisely 1 centimetre off the desk, just to get more airflow, because, I put my hand on the bottom of it and it was quite toasty. Imagine sitting in front of the fire for a while in a jumper, and yeah, about that hot. So, well, I'm having lunch in a minute, so it can cool down. But anyway, this is what it looks like now. There you go. So I just need to work out how many spaces I need to move this over by. Okay, well, it's not letting the code run. I've come up with a way of doing it. So it will repeat 20 times. It will do 4 lower dashes and 1 normal dash. And then I can just count the normal dashes and see how many spaces it goes across in leaps of 5. There should be less than 100 spaces across the entire page. So hopefully this should work. But yeah, it's not letting me run the code, so I'm going to go downstairs, have lunch, and then come back, and hopefully it'll cool down enough. Okay, it didn't actually need to cool down. I'm still going to go down in a second anyway. But it looks like 100 spaces was not enough, so I'll up that to... it seemed like it went halfway across, but I'll change that to 40 anyway. Start U. Go on. Yeah, it's going a little slowly. So, yeah, I'm definitely going to let it cool down. Okay, so it's 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. By my count, it's 134 spaces. So I'll just do that. Okay, it looks like that worked. W's over the far side. So then I just split it down the middle and then add that amount of spaces over here to this bit. Okay, so I've added a bottom border just because it looks sort of cool-ish. And that's definitely it. If you add one more bottom dash, then this end bit goes on the other line. It is a little upsetting because there's a big gap over on this side, but not as much on this side because of the scroll thingy. But I can live with that, it's fine. So now I just need to move these bits over. Yeah. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've done it. I'm pretty sure this is now in the middle. But I've got the error that kept coming up when it was overheating. So it's lunchtime for me now. Catch you in a bit. Okay, so after another shutdown and wait for it to cool down, I've opened my window, which is why you can now hear birdsong, just to make it a lot cooler. I've added some extra bits like this and all of this, which has the effect of, well, this bit only works if the bit where the title is the first set of lines. So this says, please full screen it. So when it comes up as a little window, you have to press the full screen. And then to enlarge the text so it fills the whole screen, you press Control plus twice. And then this read key says that once any key is pressed, it will then go on to the next instruction, which clears the line, and then the title gets put on. Then after the title, it gets down to this bit, where it says the first section, which is the welcome bit. And then this is the bit which has taken me 2 hours, hour and a half, most of that being sitting waiting for laptop to cool down and just searching stuff up in trial and error. So this says that a key is available to be pressed, and if it reads that a key has been pressed, and that key is the spacebar, then it won't continue doing this. What this is this position, this line, sets the cursor position to the 0th, or the first instance, so right to the left, so like this, would set it to be there. And then on the 24th line, which is right where the press space bit is, and then this loops for the 39, like over here, where it moves the press space over into the middle. Then this does the press space. Then this command is a waiting command, so this is in milliseconds, so we'll wait for 3/4 of a second, and then it'll set the cursor position back to the left-hand side, then overwrite the entire screen with 134 spaces, which is the entire width of the screen, so that it clears all of this bit, and then it'll wait for half a second, and then loop back up to the start, and run through it for as many times as it takes until the space key is pressed. And that's as far as I've gotten. It looks like this. So it comes up with, please full screen this tab. So do that, and then press Ctrl+ twice. So that, so it enlarges it, and then you press any key, and then it comes up with the title, and then it's got Welcome to Land of Light, Aetheron, Noble Traveller, and then the flashing space, press space to begin your journey. So this is just writing out press space to begin your journey, waiting for 3/4 of a second, then essentially clearing the line, and then writing it again after another half a second. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm adding another function after all of this bit. So after you've pressed the spacebar, it takes you onto this start function, which I'm about to write, which will do essentially the same thing as this section by flashing up the starting introduction bit for you to read, which will say something like, you wake up in a tavern, yada yada yada, you have no memory, but you feel an immense amount of pain or light or searing agony or something, and then it'll clear all of that, and then flash back, and then flash to the first image, which is the first scene in the tavern, which I'm about to write right now. Okay, so while I was putting the actual video together, I realised I didn't actually talk about what I did for this section. I just sort of prattled on about all these colours. So this is out of sync for me. This is the last clip I'm filming, but I'm putting it in sync with the rest of the episode, so this will make no sense. All this rambling on about it not being in order, although you'll have it in order, so found it funny. This will, fun thing I saw, because these would put it 6 lines apart. This value here is from the top, so it's not all of the, look, this is the 132nd line of this entire program, but this set cursor position doesn't read this as, oh, go up to the 11th line. It looks at it as the 11th line from the top of the page, so it'd go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then put the cursor there, if this was the output stream, and then, which is good because I don't want all the stuff up here to be part of the set cursor position bit, because I'm going to have the big Aetheron logo across the top, and then a little description. Hang on, I've already said this in the previous clip. You'll find out what's going up there, but it's good that it doesn't take it into account with this. So this will put it on, well, it does for this one, but not for that one. That one. So this one, it'll put it on the line beneath the Aetheron logo. Then it'll do it. This is how wide the screen is. So it'll put a space on every single thing in every line, because 35 is how high it is, and 134 is how wide it is. So that'll essentially fill the entire space with spaces, and then So that's what those two for loops do. And then this set cursor position will take from the top of the screen, so one of these 35s, and it'll put the cursor on the left side, so it's in the middle. Well, that would be in the middle, but I don't want it in the middle because I have more than one line of text and stuff. But yeah, so this essentially wipes the screen and then puts the cursor in the middle, and then I can do a bunch of other console.writeline stuff. So I can put whatever I want in here, and it'll put it halfway down the page, and then print it going across. So yeah, I just don't trust myself to do that without having the backup of this, because it keeps failing because my computer is about the heat of the sun. I'll be modest, I'll say the surface of the sun, which is moderately toasty. But yeah, it's interfering with permissions or something, and it's not working, so I don't trust myself enough to write a bunch of code, which I've said already, but in the next segment for you. It's really confusing. I've already said all this stuff, essentially. So, really hot computer, don't trust myself to write code. So, what you're about to see in the next section, which I've already filmed, so it's the last section for me, but the next section for you is this next bit with all these colours, which I'm not going to spoil too much. Oops. You didn't see that. Don't tell past me. Hang on. So we're back. I've done some things, as you can see. I've added a lot more colours because, well, I should probably say first, it's now 20 to 10, and the last clip that you just watched was about 4 o'clock. So it's been a while. I've added all of these colours because I've done my first bits of, well, the pictures I'm having are, what are it called? The one with the pixels, photos with pixels, clip art, that sort of stuff. So I've spent the afternoon doing some of that, which is where I've got all of these colours from. I also did it in Excel, and it looks like this. Yeah, okay, so this is a bar. It's got the door over there, table where you start, person sitting in a chair, barkeeper, big candle, mug. This side over here, that's sort of sectioned off, this is essentially the inventory. So I'll be able to display, if you have the key, this bit will add itself onto the... When it's drawing, like how I added all the letters all next to each other, I can do the same thing for this. So I can have a case that if this key has been picked up at some point, then it can be displayed here. Same with the axe and the flagon, which is nicely mirrored over there. And yeah, so you have options. It'll say, like along the bottom of the screen somewhere, it'll say, well, you'll have the description. It'll flash up like the press space to start thing. It'll flash up there for a second, then disappear and be replaced by this. And then it'll say, well, the big title, the Etheron thing, that thing, will already be there, just like up the top, right there, above there. And you'll have to scroll to get up to it. And then it'll have a recap of what the before scene was, so the flashing thing. It'll write it across the top, so you can scroll up and go see what it said. And the idea is you can either go talk to the tavern keeper over here, or go out the door, and then that'll take you to the next area, where I'll do more of this sort of clip art stuff. And yeah, that's the basic idea. You'll be able to use WSD to go forwards to that fella, to the right, to the door. Can't go left because there's nothing there, and can't go back because there's nothing there either. So the options are forwards or right. But yeah, that's about it for this scene. There'll also be buttons for equipping stuff, like if you press, I haven't decided what it'll be yet, but if it's like E, if you press E, you'll pick up this, and then it'll come up on here and show up like that. Yeah, that's basically it, the idea for now. My computer is still overheating. It won't work. so I can try and run it, and it says, oh, there's build errors, but there aren't build errors. It's just this thing, which is the overheating thing, because somehow it overheating voids a permission or something. Luckily, not a problem. Well, it is a problem, but not an overly important one. Okay, all of these colours, you can sort of see what they are, because I've labelled them. But yeah, it's kind of hard to go, oh, dark green, that's obviously 0, 160, 0. So I've taken the liberty of already thinking of that, because, I mean, I don't write a script, but I've already pre-thought about stuff. Because I've had enough of lunging straight into things without plans. Like this game. But yeah, so I've already thought of that. So here are all the colours, in reverse order. So light grey is at the bottom, purple is at the top, and so it runs up. But yeah, these are all the colours I can use. Some of them look really similar, like this one and this one, but they're not. It's just because this app thing that I'm using, web browser, it just puts them really similar. But this one's actually more like goldy, and this one's more yellow. It's like stark yellow. It's oh, what on earth? Okay, the second one is this yellow over here, and the first one is this yellow. So they're very different. It just doesn't look like it. But yeah, these are all the browns. Got a nice selection of greens, white, black, dark grey. Oops. Yeah, dark grey, light grey, grey and light grey. Oh yeah, and that's the software I'm filming on. But yeah, that's it. That's what I've got for now. But yeah, I can't really edit it. Like, I can't say, oh, write the in there, because I have very little confidence in my ability to write hundreds of lines of code and then not test it at all, and then just hope that it works. But I'll give it a go. It'll probably break. It is 13 to 10 now, so I won't be working for much longer. But yeah, that's it for now. It's the first panel. Seems like a good enough place to end off this little episode segment thing. So yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Enjoy. I haven't done a counter for how many ums I've said, but it's probably not 63, so not as blackout drunk this time from drinking game. But yeah, since they're all sort of one thing, and I don't see why you'd watch one without watching all of them, I'll see you in a little bit, because you'll just watch the next one. Bye! Oh wait, no, hi, because it loops back around, because cyclical narrative stuff. Ciao. What the... Auf Wiedersehen. What's the anti-bonjour? Bonne nuit. Bonne nuit, that means good night in French. Salve, that's Latin and Italian, but Latin was there first. Essentially, hi! Oh!